Hello, hello, hello. Here we are back again with another Shoe Snob unboxing video series, One Take Wonders. Here we are with something new, something different, something I've never had the pleasure of actually holding, touching, experiencing before. So it's exciting, not only for me, but I'm sure for all of you guys once you hear what it is. This is also a two-part series, as this line has both a Benchgrade and a Handgrade line. Sorry, this manufacturer, Shoemaker, has both a Handgrade and Benchgrade line. So we are going to start with the Benchgrade line. All right. The brand in question is also a part of a collaboration with a menswear brand, so it's kind of a twofold thing here. But the brand is Oriental Shoemaker out of Japan, and this is with their recent collaboration with Yeossal, the menswear atelier out of Singapore. So you can see that here. I don't know if I gave you enough time to read it, but there you go. So they have two collections within the line that they supply to Yeossal. One is a Benchgrade, so to speak, collection, and one is a Handgrade. I have the Handgrades here, and we're going to get into those. You can see they have two different boxes. One is a dark green and one is kind of like this taupe green color. So let's get into the Benchgrade line. So the Benchgrade line has a nice solid box. You can definitely feel the difference between this and the Handgrade line, which is a nice touch, as I feel it should be. We got not the display, but the detail stickers here showing what I got, and let's see what it says. The Winston model in box calf dark brown, last 7965, size UK 6.5. The sizes, I believe, are UK, which is interesting because the site does say US when you select, so it must have been, sizing is UK 6.5, but this would have translated to the 7.5 on the site. All right, let's start looking at the shoes. So basic kind of packaging, no fancy lining. I did take these out. They might have been a little bit more organized when I first got them, but you can see here we are. Very basic packaging. Now this says dark brown, and this is probably the darkest brown I've ever seen. It definitely, in a dark light, it could look like black without a doubt. This is an Annane calf. For those of you that don't know, Annane is a French tannery, very famous one. I believe owned by the Hermes Group. I believe the Hermes Group took over all the tanneries in France, so they're doing something very smart there. Yeah, so let's take a look at the details. So my first experience with the Lazy Man. So this is their Winston model on their Benchgrade line. So let's take a look at the details of what makes them Benchgrade. So let me just have a quick look and remember of what I saw of the other line before I start giving you my thoughts and opinion. All right, so the Lazy Man style. For those of you that don't know, a Lazy Man is essentially a shoe that has what are called gussets, which should have gore, so that you can essentially slip your foot into what looks like an Oxford or a monk strap or whatever, a higher shoe model as opposed to a loafer. So it's like the loafer of shoe models. You know, with cultures that tend to take off their shoes a lot when they enter places, it's been a very popular model because, you know, you want to have the elegance of a dress shoe that you can wear with a suit, but not have to bend over and tie and untie your shoes all the time, which can be a pain in the butt, especially when you're wearing a nice bespoke suit that fits you. You got to be careful when you bend over. For those of you that have ever heard that sound, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, the Lazy Man, It's not that new, but recently it's been quite popularized. And it's funny because the Lazy Man was created for Winston Churchill, and this is called the Winston model. So naturally, as you can put two and two together, this has some inspiration behind it with that idea. And it was a model very similar to this that they made for Mr. Churchill. So the last is kind of like a very soft square last. It's a very, I don't want to say generic, it's just quite an unoffensive last. It's not pointy, it's not too round, it's very easy to wear, and it fits nicely. So I am always UK 6.5 in a standard fitting shoe, i.e. not narrow. I'm ideally a 7 narrow, but most people don't have that offering ready to wear. So 6.5 tends to fit me pretty good in how I'm able to judge things. 6.5 fit just fine. Just how a bench grade 6.5 shoe tends to fit. So yeah, the shoes are made in Japan, and I believe it says here on the lid they're specifically made in Nara, Japan, which I believe is one of the cities that still kind of holds, how do I describe it? Like the traditional Japanese, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, where like Kyoto, where you can see the traditional housing and the way like the old Japan was, and not as modern as Tokyo, so to speak, with modern buildings and lights and etc. So, which makes sense that they're holding manufacturing and craftsmanship there, not manufacturing, craftsmanship, to be in a place that's more traditionally still holding on to that Japanese culture and not so modern with the rest of the world. A place I would definitely love to visit on my bucket list, Japan. So, yeah, and you don't actually see a ton of good, ready to wear Japanese brands sold outside of Japan because the importation and exportation is crazy insane. So it's nice to actually be able to not only see this but have this offering, because as most of you know, the Japanese, when they put their mind to something, they do it to best as they can. So when they're making shoes, it doesn't seem like they're going to be cutting any corners, because I don't feel like that's in their culture. Their culture is to make the best they can with what they have. Granted, you're not going to get a bench grade shoe and it's going to be better than a hand grade of an English make, but it's going to be a solid, beautiful, well-made, good price shoe. So it's nice to see that. I was excited to see a Japanese shoe. It's just so rare to get outside of Japan, and to be able to access it at a few clicks away, which you can now do through Yeossal. So what makes this bench grade? It's actually a blend, in my opinion, between bench grade and hand grade, because most bench grade shoes have open channel soles. As you can see, this has a closed channel sole. They have a beveled waist on the inside arch, but a straight waist on the outside arch. So that's kind of in tune with other makers like Carmina. Most true bench grade lines are just straight waist on both sides. They actually have a very tight stitch per inch on the welt as well. I want to say that is around 10 to 12, which is impressive to say the least for a ready-to-wear make at this price. So you guys are probably dying to know the price, and the price is 618 Singapore dollars, which roughly translates to 455 USD. Pardon me that I didn't get the euro British pound equivalents, but quick Google search can give you that answer real quick. $455, I dare say it's a good value. It's a solid shoe, good leather. I don't see any flaws anywhere. They do a good job at closing the welt, or connecting the welt, should I say, to the rest of the shoe, to the heel block. Yeah, it's a solid shoe. Again, no surprise when it comes from Japanese making, because again, their culture is known for, when they're doing something, doing it to the best of their ability. and it definitely shows in this shoe. And I think $455 is an honest price for this kind of blend between hand grade and bench grade. And yeah, it's interesting to see. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to take it all in as I'm talking and give you a bit of my thoughts. Lining is nice as well, very basic classic lining, nothing extravagant, but again, you shouldn't get that at this bench grade manufacturing quality and price. Yeah, beautiful leather, super dark. If you like really dark brown, that shoe's for you. Let's take a look. Interesting to see, and I can just imagine that this is going to be a very successful line for Yeossal. Very solid, beautiful shoes. Nice, unobtrusive last. You really can't go wrong with this type of last. I like the little OR print on the sole. It's a nice, subtle logo. Got a pretty solid heel. Looks like it's about an inch, maybe an inch and an eighth, but I think it's closer to an inch. Nice balance. Yep, fits the balance test. Not a lot of toe spring, which is great. Again, great shoemaking. Good pricing. $455's solid price for a shoe of this caliber. There are no visible flaws. There's nothing to complain about. I know you guys want to try to find something to complain about because you think that, oh, if I only talk good about the shoes, must be because I'm getting paid or I get these shoes. But just so you know, this video is not paid for, and these shoes are getting sent back. So, you know, I can't make up flaws if they don't exist. But again, just know that I tend to don't take things I don't like and I know are gonna be full of flaws. It's a waste of time. So, anyway, here's the first shoe, the Benchgrade line of Oriental Shoemaker of Japan, now selling, I believe, exclusively, don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, at Yeossal, where with just a few clicks, you can get them at your door via DHL very quick. Yeossal has great service and is easy to work with. So, again, true to size, I took 6.5, it's what I usually take, fit great. Quality is there, no visible flaws, high grade French calf, very easy to wear last, kind of a blend between bench grade and hand grade. Good solid shoes. You really can't, you know, the only thing you can say is you don't like the model. Other than that, there's really nothing bad to say or point out. I literally don't see anything that makes them flawed and or anything outside of perfect in reality. So let's move on to the next video where we take a look at the Handgrade line, which is quite impressive. All right, thank you for tuning in on this one. Do stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe, like, share. Check out the blog if you haven't. Completely different content there, but equally good. And yeah, thank you as always. Talk soon.